slowly leaving me the closer I got back to the Bronx. And I realized then that I had to come out to my family and live my life authentically 100%. And out of that, years later, I realized I had to take it even a step further and really sort of embrace parts of myself that I still was ashamed about as a gay man, and that was being effeminate. And I created Coco because I wanted to have a voice, and I'm honestly, this is corny, but there was a part of me that just made a decision that I wanted to create a world where no gay kids were going to have to go through what I went through. So now when I go out on the road and I meet 11-year-olds, who are coming up to me to tell me how much they love me, not that 11-year-olds are coming to see my show, but they know me from my videos, I can't believe how much the world has changed. And I know I'm not solely responsible for that change. We all are by being authentic, but I feel like I'm a part of it, and that's all I ever really asked for.
Well, as of today, it was on our Newswire post that I received, but it said that as of today, President Barack Obama said, and he dictated that the month of June would be considered LGBTI Pride Month, period, for all federal agencies. What is your response to that?
I think that's wonderful. I think it's wonderful to be acknowledged in that way. It's been a long time coming, and I was just having this discussion this morning with a friend of mine who's older than I am and remembers more of the struggle, and he's still skeptical of the direction the country is moving. And I sort of feel like maybe the scale has tipped in our favor finally, and that it's not. There's still loudmouths out there that want to take us back, but I'm not sure the country would really be behind that kind of a person or group of people. I hope not. It remains to be seen, but I have a feeling that the scale is tipped, and hearing you say that about the president is just another sign that that's hopefully the direction we're going to keep moving in.
A lot of people don't like the president because he has become so friendly and accepting to the gay and lesbian population in the states. But having said that part of it, when it comes to same-sex marriage, for an example, there's more and more people now than ever before that do support same-sex marriage and each other's responsibilities in that marriage, which to me is absolutely incredible to see it.
It's amazing to see, because I honestly, I worked towards gay marriage my whole life and career, and talked about it in my shows, but I never really thought that I would see it in my lifetime. So it is amazing how fast things are changing, and there's always going to be people out there that are going to be very religious or twist their religion to see things in a certain way. I think there's a lot of people out there who, I was one of them when I was a young kid. I hated gay people because I had been taught to hate myself, so I didn't want to be around other gay people, and I didn't even want to be gay. So, I always look at the people that are have the biggest mouths about that stuff. I'm always thinking, well, they probably have a lot to hide.
Definitely so. There is a lot of the Republican yahoos that are out there that have a lot to hide, and a lot of the religious, bureaucratic, crazy knuckleheads that are hiding behind the pulpit every Sunday. Yeah,
exactly. But I do think all of that is changing. And I will tell you this is very funny, and I forgot about it. I made a logo special years ago, and a priest wrote me from the Vatican saying that he was watching my video of this logo special I did in the Vatican with all these other priests, and they were all laughing, having a great time. And a bishop walked in, and he sat down and was watching this. And when it was over, he said, "That Coco is doing God's work." From the Vatican.
Was this as a result of the series, the logo series Wisecrack?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
But it's just amazing to me that, there are gays in the church, and we know that. I just wish they could be out and open about it.
True. Now, I mean, this is really far-fetched, and not necessarily the direction that a lot of people are comfortable with, but Miss Coco, you have a voice, and you have a right to that voice like anybody else does. But if you could say anything to the Pope about same-sex relationships and gay people, this is loaded, what would you say to him?
Oh, God, I don't know. I would just say that I appreciate his drag and hope that he could appreciate mine. And because it really is all drag. And, I've had Episcopal priests at my church, at my shows. I've had monks at my shows. I've had rabbis at my shows. I'm sure I've had Catholic priests or, I forget what they call when they're not priests, but they wear the collar that help whatever. But I've had religious people at my shows, and the one thing they've all said separately is what I was doing was a sermon. So I would maybe just say to the Pope, maybe one day he could sit and watch my show. And although I do curse a lot, probably be like my mother. Why all the cursing?
Well, you said earlier on that you, I guess, were born and raised in the Bronx, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Now, I lived on West 86th Street there in Manhattan for a couple of years there, and then moved out to Queens in the, what was the name of that place? It was right off of Myrtle Avenue. The address was actually Myrtle Avenue. But
I have no idea, because here's the thing about native New Yorkers, at least back then. We never went to the other boroughs.
No, you're right. You're right.
We never went to Queens. The only time we went to Queens was when my sister married a Jewish guy, and we would go there for the Jewish holidays. I'm not Jewish, by the way, but we would go there for Jewish holidays, and then and that was it. And then my brother-in-law used to go out there on the weekends to buy bagels. He drove all the way from the Bronx out to Queens to buy bagels, because that was the best place to get bagels. So New York is very funny, and I was an adult before I ever went to Brooklyn. We never went to Staten. No one goes to Staten Island.
They still don't.
Yeah, no, they still don't.
You're right.
And you went in. The only other borough you really went into was Manhattan to see a Broadway show or to go to a museum.
Wow. Well, Miss Coco, has Jimmy Fallon with the Tonight Show, has he ever had you on, or have you contacted them?
Oh, my God, no. I wouldn't be able to go on a show like that. Not enough people know who I am. You reminds me of a story of this funny girl in New York. I can't remember her name. She used to tell that her parents called. She was a cabaret singer in New York. Trying to scrape money together to do her little show in this piano bar, and she was talking to her parents, and her mom says, "Oh, your dad wants to talk to you. He came up with a fabulous idea." And Dad gets on the phone. He says, "I came up with a great idea. You know what you should do? You should go on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. You should give him a call. Like it's that easy. Oh yeah, let me call Jay Leno and get myself booked on there." But no, I haven't. I'm flattered that you think I could go on that show, but I don't think that would. I don't think I would ever be invited on that show.
I don't know. I think that perhaps that you could, because yes, you've been in movies, and yes, people know who you are. Now. No,
I think maybe I could go on the Ellen Show and do like a comedy bit, or maybe go on the View and do a set when they do their, they're introducing a new comic. But I don't think I could ever do
Well, I can't
Tonight
say
Show.
that you're a new comic, but I certainly wouldn't say that you're an old comic either.
Oh, you could say that.
I mean, you don't look like you're a day over about 25, right?
Oh, yeah, right.
So
that's Photoshop.
Oh God, nobody has photoshopped my mug on Facebook. Thank God. If they did, I'd probably.
Well, you're a man. You're not a drag queen.
I could go in the. I had somebody that told me that they would donate $1,000 to my show, my live shows, if I went and I did the show in drag with the dress, the hair, the wig, the whole. I don't know. Oh no, honey child, please. I mean.
For $1,000? For $1,000, I would have done it and offered them a service.
Now, we have been talking, Miss Coco, periodically throughout the years on the show. Now, I've been in media for over 30 years, but we've been talking here in the last 6 months, fairly hardcore, on those among us that have inspired us, our mentors. Who would you say that would be your mentor?
Oh, I've had a few. One of my mentors was B. Arthur, who I actually got to meet and become friends with. So, that was completely amazing. But I had discovered B. Arthur on a comedy album years ago, where she played a Jewish mother. The album was called The Jewish American Princess, and I thought she was hilarious. And then I put it together that she was the same voice as Yenta the matchmaker in Fiddler on the Roof. And then, of course, she came out in Maude, and her comic timing was just, there was nothing like it. And the looks and the slow burns, I just modeled myself after her as a kid. I just was obsessed with her.
What was it about her specifically that really just stepped up front in your life, and you thought, maybe I want to be just like that?
She just had a sense of comic timing that I connected with. I mean, of course, America connected with it. She was the cover of Time magazine. She became overnight. I mean, she had been working for years on Broadway, but TV is what made her a huge celebrity. And there was just that comic timing was priceless. And when she would just turn and give that slow burn to her husband or to anybody, it was just perfect. And she was a great actress. She worked on her craft, and I feel like, for me, there's a lot of talented people out there, and I'm so happy that there's cable shows where they'll actually do these shows that require good actors to play these roles. But for the most part, with reality TV, you can become a celebrity nowadays, and for nothing, for being on a reality show. And I miss those days where I feel lucky that I grew up in a time where my role models were people who had a craft and worked on that craft, and those comedians and the Dean Martin roasts and all those people. I was obsessed with those people growing up. And I also grew up around a lot of funny people. My parents were older when they had me, so I grew up around a lot of adults, and they were all very, very funny, great joke tellers. A lot of them had very tragic lives and had also survived World War II, so they had a lot of pain, but out of that pain was they developed a zest for life and comedy.
Well, out of your, that really brings a very good point that you skirted around on just a little bit. But do you think, or perhaps have you ever thought that because of your own pain at times in your own life, that you have found comic or humor within it, or something that made you laugh within it to help to ease the pain that you
definitely
have?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I was always creative. I know I was always creative from when I was very young because of the stories my parents tell me of things that I've said and things that I did. And that was sort of before the pain set in. But I would say as early as kindergarten is when I really started to notice that I was different and didn't belong. And by second grade is when the bullying started. So I had a therapist really point out to me that that my depression